The sun was just coming up over the wide plains of southern Arizona, turning the dry land gold as a wildlife patrol helicopter moved low across the desert. From the air, everything looked calm. The land stretched far and open, broken only by dirt roads, scattered trees, and a protected wildlife reserve that few people ever saw this early in the day. For the patrol team, this flight was routine. They were checking fences, water sources, and tracking animal movement after a long, harsh summer. Nothing about the morning suggested that history was about to change. Then the pilot slowed the helicopter. Near a dry riverbed, something was wrong. At first it looked like a dark shape in the dust. Too still. Too small. As the helicopter circled lower, the shape became clear. It was a baby elephant. And he was alone. That alone was alarming. Young elephants do not wander by themselves. They stay close to their herd, protected by adults at all times. A calf without family is already in danger. But as the helicopter moved closer, the situation became far worse. The baby tried to stand. He pushed himself up, wobbled, and then collapsed back into the dirt. That was when the team saw it. He only had 3 legs. The 4th was gone. Not injured. Not trapped. Gone. The ground around him told a hard story. The dirt was torn up, plants crushed flat, and deep marks cut through the soil. Something violent had happened here. The baby elephant had fought, struggled, and somehow survived, but at a terrible cost. The pilot radioed the base immediately. Her voice was calm, but everyone listening could hear the urgency. A rescue team was needed right away. From the air, the baby elephant looked small and fragile, his skin covered in dust, his breathing slow and heavy. He had not moved far from the riverbed, likely too weak to go anywhere else. Without water, food, or protection, he would not last long. Back at the Wildlife Rescue Center, the alert spread fast. Veterinarians, animal care workers, and rescue drivers dropped what they were doing. Within minutes, a convoy of vehicles was moving toward the coordinates sent from the helicopter. No one said it out loud, but many of them were thinking the same thing. A baby elephant missing a leg does not survive. Not in the wild. Not even in care. Still, they had to try. The drive took hours across rough land and narrow dirt paths. The heat rose quickly as the sun climbed higher, and every minute mattered. When the team finally reached the site, the scene was worse than expected. The baby elephant stood a short distance away, swaying on his 3 legs. His missing leg had healed just enough to stop the bleeding, but the wound was raw, swollen, and clearly painful. Flies hovered around it. His ribs showed slightly under his skin, a sign he had not eaten well for days. He was exhausted. Yet when the rescue team approached, something surprising happened. Instead of running, the baby stayed where he was. He lifted his trunk weakly, as if trying to understand who these humans were and whether they were a threat. His eyes were wide, alert, and full of fear, but also something else. Hope. The lead veterinarian studied him carefully. The calf was young, no more than 2 years old. Too young to survive alone. Too young to carry this kind of injury. His body should not have been able to handle the loss of a leg. And yet here he was, alive. The team moved carefully. The baby was sedated just enough to keep him calm, then treated for dehydration and infection. Fluids were started immediately. His wound was cleaned as best as possible in the field, but everyone could see the truth. There was no saving the leg. What mattered now was saving his life. As the baby elephant was gently lifted onto the rescue truck, one of the team members whispered something simple. "Hold on, little one." No one knew it yet, but this moment, in the heat of an Arizona morning, marked the beginning of a story that would challenge everything people believed about survival, science, and what a broken body could still overcome. The rescue truck rolled through the gates of the Wildlife Care Center just after noon. Dust covered the tires, the doors, and the people riding inside. The baby elephant lay still on the padded floor of the transport bay, his chest rising and falling in slow, heavy breaths. By the time he arrived, word had already spread through the center. Staff lined the walkway in silence as the truck stopped. Some had worked with elephants for decades. Others were still in training. All of them understood how serious this was. A 3-legged baby elephant had never made it. Inside the medical barn, the team worked fast but carefully. The calf was placed on thick mats, his body supported so his weight would not press too hard on his remaining legs. Monitors were attached to track his breathing and heart rate. 4 lines delivered fluids into his veins, fighting the dangerous dehydration that had nearly shut his body down. The lead veterinarian began a full exam. The missing leg had been torn away days earlier, most likely by predators. The wound was deep and badly infected. The tissue around it was swollen and dark, a clear sign that the infection was spreading. If it reached his blood, he would not survive. The decision was made within minutes. The damaged area had to be fully cleaned and surgically closed. There was no time to wait. No room for doubt. The surgery lasted for hours. Elephants do not handle anesthesia easily, especially young ones already weakened by injury and hunger. The team adjusted doses constantly, watching every breath, every change in heart rate. One small mistake could stop his heart. But the baby held on. When the surgery finally ended, the infection had been removed. The wound was sealed. The danger was not gone, but for the first time he had a real chance. That night, the staff took turns sitting near him. Elephants are social animals. Being alone can cause stress that slows healing. Even in sleep, the baby's trunk moved gently, reaching out as if searching for his herd. The next morning he woke up. Slowly his eyes opened. He shifted his weight, confused by the strange place and the missing pain that had once burned through his body. A soft sound came from his throat, low and unsure. He was alive. Over the next few days, the calf began to eat small amounts of soft food. His strength returned little by little. His eyes followed people as they moved around the barn. He learned the voices of his caregivers and reacted when they entered the room. They gave him a name that matched his spirit. Koda, meaning friend. But as the relief faded, a harder truth set in. Koda could not stand for long. Slowly his body began to change. The strain on his front legs eased. The swelling went down. His back straightened as his weight spread more evenly. He could stand longer without shaking. He could turn without falling. And something else returned. His energy. Koda started reaching for toys again. Logs, tires, buckets left in his space. He pushed them, lifted them, and sometimes tossed them aside with a playful shake of his head. Caregivers noticed he was more alert, more curious, more present. The leg was no longer something strange. It was becoming part of him. Physical training became part of daily life. Not drills. Not forced movement. Just natural challenges. Food placed a little farther away. Gentle slopes. Soft ground that asked his body to adjust and learn. Koda figured things out on his own. He learned how much force to use. How to place the leg before shifting his weight. How to recover when he slipped. Each mistake taught him something new. One afternoon, after months of careful work, something unexpected happened. Koda broke into a run. It was not fast. It was not perfect. But it was real. Dust kicked up under his feet as he moved across the open space of the enclosure. His ears flapped wide. His trunk lifted high. For a few seconds he was not a patient or a project. He was just a young elephant running. The staff froze in place, afraid to interrupt him. Some laughed. Others wiped their eyes. The leg held. The body followed. The moment passed, but its meaning stayed. From that day on, Koda changed. His confidence grew. He approached people more often. He began to interact with other elephants through the fence, reaching out with his trunk, responding to their sounds. Social behavior that had faded during his worst days came back strong. The leg was upgraded as he grew. Each new version was stronger and better shaped. The team learned from every step Koda took. What worked? What failed? What surprised them? Outside the center, word spread. Universities called. Engineers asked questions. Wildlife groups wanted to learn. Not because it was impressive, but because it mattered. Injured animals like Koda existed everywhere, and for the first time, there was a real option beyond giving up. Koda did not know any of this. He knew only that he could move again. He could explore. He could play. He could stand in the sun without pain pulling him down. And he wanted more. Years passed. The baby elephant found alone by a dry riverbed was now a growing young bull. Koda gained weight, strength, and confidence. His body changed and his prosthetic leg changed with him. Each new version fit better, lasted longer, and allowed more freedom. What once looked fragile now looked natural. Koda walked long distances inside the protected land. He explored new areas, crossed uneven ground, and learned how to move through mud and shallow water without fear. His leg did not slow him down. It supported him. Most people who saw him for the first time did not notice the prosthetic right away. They saw an elephant doing what elephants do. Walking, eating, playing, living. Koda became part of a small group of rescued elephants. Social life mattered. He learned how to read their signals, when to push, when to back away, and how to play without being too rough. His leg held up even during long days and active moments. The team continued to watch closely. Regular checkups. Careful maintenance. Adjustments as needed. Nothing was left to chance. But the fear that once followed every step slowly faded. Koda was not just surviving. He was thriving. His story reached far beyond the rescue center. Students came to learn. Engineers studied the design. Wildlife workers shared the knowledge with others facing similar cases. What started as one risky decision became a path forward. Not every injured animal could be saved like Coda. The team knew that. But now when someone said, "It can't be done," there was proof standing on four legs that said otherwise. For visitors, Coda became something more than an elephant. He became a lesson. A lesson that broken does not mean finished. That healing can come from unexpected places. That effort, patience, and care can change outcomes. Coda never knew the odds he beat. He did not know that many believed he would never stand again. He did not know his life helped change how people think about injured wildlife. He only knew how the ground felt under his feet. Solid, steady, real. And that was enough. When he tried, his body leaned sharply to one side. His remaining legs strained under his weight, joints bending in ways they were never meant to. After just a few steps, he would sink back down, breathing hard, his body shaking from effort. Elephants are not built to live on three legs. Each day, Coda grew a little heavier, a little stronger. And with that growth came more pressure on his body. His back began to curve. His front legs swelled from overuse. Small cracks appeared on the pads of his feet, signs of stress that could lead to serious injury. The care team adjusted his bedding, changed his feeding routine, and tried every support method they knew. Nothing fixed the core problem. Coda needed four legs. At staff meetings, the question hung heavy in the air. How long could they keep him comfortable? And was comfort enough? No one wanted to say the word out loud, but everyone felt it. If his body continued to break down, keeping him alive might become cruel instead of kind. Then one afternoon, everything changed. A visiting researcher from a university in California walked into the barn and watched Coda struggle to stand. She did not look away. She did not shake her head. She watched how he shifted his weight, how his muscles tried to adjust, how his body searched for balance. And then she said something no one expected. What if he doesn't have to stay on three legs forever? The room went silent. Saving Coda's life had already felt impossible. What she was suggesting felt unreal. But for the first time since the rescue, hope returned, quiet and fragile, but real. The idea stayed in everyone's mind long after the meeting ended. A fourth leg. Not a real one, but something made by humans. The researcher, an engineer who worked with medical devices, returned the next morning with notebooks, drawings, and one clear message. This had never been done for a baby elephant in the United States. Not like this. Not for a leg that carried so much weight. Still, she believed it might be possible. Before anything could be built, the team needed to understand Coda's body. They spent weeks watching him move. Cameras recorded every step he took. Pressure mats on the floor showed how much weight each leg carried. The results were hard to look at. Coda was putting almost all his weight on his front legs. That was dangerous. If nothing changed, his joints would fail. Pain would grow. His life would slowly shrink into a space too small for an elephant meant to roam. The engineer brought in help from other states. Specialists in animal movement. Material experts. Even people who designed parts for airplanes. Each person focused on one problem. Strength. Balance. Comfort. Safety. The leg could not be heavy. It could not rub his skin raw. It had to bend and absorb shock. And it had to survive dirt, water, heat, and mud. Most people outside the project thought it was impossible. Some said the elephant would never accept it. Others said it would break within days. A few said it was cruel to try. But Coda did something that changed the tone of the room. During one observation session, the team placed a soft test mold near him. It was not attached. It was not forced. It simply rested on the ground. Coda walked over. He touched it with his trunk. Tapped it. Smelled it. Then pushed it slightly as if testing what it was and what it could do. He did not back away. He did not panic. For the first time since his injury, he looked curious. That moment mattered. The team began slow training. Very slow. The mold was brought out for a few minutes each day. Coda was rewarded with food when he stayed calm. No pressure. No rush. Weeks passed. Then months. A real leg began to take shape. It had a strong inner frame and a soft outer layer. The top was shaped exactly to fit Coda's body. The bottom was wide, designed to grip the ground and keep him steady. Inside, hidden parts absorbed impact so each step would not jar his body. When the day came to try it, the barn was quiet. Coda stood calmly as the team fitted the leg against his body. It was not locked in place yet. Just held. Just felt. His ears flapped once. His trunk curled. He shifted his weight. Then, slowly he leaned forward. The room froze. The leg held. It did not slip. It did not bend the wrong way. Kota stood there, balanced on 4 points for the first time in over a year. No one spoke. They did not want to break the moment. Kota took one step, then another. They were small steps. Careful. Uneven. But they were steps. For the first time since his rescue, his body moved the way it was meant to. The team ended the session quickly. Too much too fast could cause fear or injury. The leg was removed and Kota was given space and food and time to rest. But everything had changed. The impossible now had proof. There was still a long road ahead. Adjustments. Failures. Repairs. Growth. Pain management. Learning. But that day, in a quiet barn in the American desert, a baby elephant took steps into a future no one had believed he could have. Progress did not come fast. Some days, Kota accepted the new leg without trouble. Other days he refused to move at all. Elephants are smart and emotional. When something feels wrong, they remember it. The team learned quickly that patience mattered more than speed. Each session was short. A few steps. Pause. Rest. The leg was adjusted again and again. A small change in angle. A softer lining. A wider base. Every detail mattered. Even a little pressure in the wrong place could cause pain and set Kota back days.